The FCC voted today to advance a plan that could dramatically change the way you experience internet content, the way you experience shows like The Young Turks. They voted 3-2 today along strict party lines to advance a plan that would in effect allow services like internet service providers to have services like Netflix and things like that have to pay more to get faster speeds. Now, they know that this isn't popular. They know that there's been a lot of popular opposition to it, and there will be more in the future. And so the FCC chairman is trying to get out in front of that, and he has some great things to say about how he wants to protect the integrity of the internet. Let's listen to his quotes and see if we think he's really going to do that. He says, "There is one internet. It must be fast, it must be robust, and it must be open. The prospect of a gatekeeper choosing winners and losers on the internet is unacceptable," while they are in effect allowing gatekeepers to pay to stay as gatekeepers. "If a network operator slowed the speed of service below that which the consumer bought, it would be commercially unreasonable and therefore prohibited. If the network operator blocked access to lawful content, it would violate our no blocking rule and therefore be doubly prohibited." And so he's trying to make you feel better about this plan when we know it could fundamentally change, the way sites like The Young Turks compete with much bigger sites and things like that. So, now, this is not passed, it's just moved to the next step, and there will be 120 days of public comment. I would like you to comment publicly about this.
So look, this kind of goes back to an issue that we talk about all the time at TYT. It's always about money in politics. It's about big corporations, in this case ISPs, having the ability to influence politicians and members of the FCC through money, right? And so that's a really big issue. And when you think about how it harms people in so many different ways, I mean, think about independent media. So for a show like The Young Turks, right now we're on YouTube. YouTube is obviously tremendously influential. I'm sure it has more than enough money to make sure that it acts as a gatekeeper, pays the fees in order to be as fast as possible. But now we're forced to fall under that umbrella. We're forced to work with YouTube or to join a massive corporation in order to have our voices heard. And that's problematic because, in our case, we're not censored at all, but who knows what could happen down the line. So there's that issue. And then also you as a consumer, you don't want to know that your ISP is somehow censoring the content that you want to receive, right? You want to make sure you have access to all the available information out there. That's the best part of the internet. And to know that now they could slow down the speeds of certain websites, especially if they're not willing to pony up the funds, that's disastrous for the freedom of information.
Yeah, and it's easy for them now to be like, well, under this plan, they couldn't give you download speeds that are slower than your current contract. But okay, maybe in a year they change it so that the base speeds are super slow and every site has to pay more. They can easily get around that. That's why I wouldn't trust the FCC or the chairman at all, at least based on what we know about this so far.
How could, the politics of this, I don't understand. I don't. It was a 3-2 vote, the 3 Democrats on the committee, chairman's a Democrat appointed by the president, 2 other Democrats, one of whom I know, who I covered in Charleston, South Carolina, James Clyburn's daughter, Mignon Clyburn. I don't and they voted for it with massive hesitations, saying that the FCC moved too fast to be fair, but they want to begin the process of collecting public comment. And you read Mignon Clyburn's quote. The real call to action begins after the vote today. You have the ear of the entire FCC. The whole world's upon us. That all sounds good. But I mean, so are the 2 Republicans on the committee opposing the plan? Why? To stand up for the little guy? No fucking way.
It could be that they knew that it was going to pass, and so they get to look like they're pro-consumer without hurting the corporations.
Consumer advocates want the FCC to instead reclassify internet providers as utilities, like telephone companies, broadband companies, and Republicans, both in comment and the FCC, vehemently oppose the plan. So, keep in mind that what happened here then is that there was this 3-2 vote in the FCC caused by people who want to take a little bit to consumers, and they won over the people who really, no, we would take everything. We don't like this idea at all.
Yeah.
There are 2 people standing up. There's nobody right now in the FCC standing up for regular people at home.
Yeah, as far as we know right now. And like I've said the last time we talked about this issue, I think that the ISPs are doing what they can to game the system while they can. But the internet is not as simple and it's not as static as they think that it is. And it's very possible that in the future, moves like this and Netflix having to pay X million more dollars per year is going to cause them to change to a peer-to-peer service. The ISPs are going to have no clue whatsoever what the traffic is, where it's going or where it's coming from. And I think that eventually the internet will evolve and we'll get around this. But I am worried in the short term what this could do to both just entertainment content, but also to potentially political speech. It should scare you.